You're All So Glorious, Chapter 2, Part 8. Um, it's gonna be child abuse. It's always child abuse in this one. In Chapter 2, it's gonna be child abuse. That's the content warning. There's more in the original story linked in the comments. The fencing club is located within this local gym that smells starkly of sweat. The lights are strangely sickly, yellowish and poorly maintained. The two of them pass through the larger, more open room with weights and treadmills to a smaller, private room in the back where a bunch of people mill about, colorful plastic bottles lined up against the mirrored wall. Some are already practicing, wearing full gear while they joust slowly with capped épées, whatever. Phantom lowers their duffel to the ground. A woman approaches, mask in hand. She has a red hijab on, damp with sweat. Her face is wrinkled, but kind. "It's good to see you again," she greets Phantom warmly. "It's been a while, no?" Phantom shifts uncomfortably. "There were some things at home," they say vaguely, which makes the lady's eyes light up in understanding. "No need to explain," she says softly. "And can I assume this is your younger sister? Lace, was it? I'm the instructor here. My sisters and I run the place." Lace blinks, squeezing Phantom's hand tight. She'd not even done well with instructors and tutors. She'd never lived up to a single expectation laid out for her. "Do I have to try out?" she asks. "I've never fenced before." The woman blinks before shaking her head, almost bemused. "Not at all," she says. "We welcome people of all levels. I don't think we've ever had anyone quite as young as you, but I'm sure we can pin up some gear." Lace brightens instantly. "It's my birthday," she informs the woman. "Oh, happy birthday then. And how old are you turning?" 11. The woman claps her hands. "Plenty old enough to fence," she says. "I think we have some size 1 sabers somewhere around here. Let me get one for you while the two of you warm up and you can spar with your sister, yes?" Phantom's warm-ups aren't strenuous. Unlike ballet, where warm-ups are thorough and sweat-inducing, Phantom mostly just stretches their legs and arms before doing something complicated with their feet. Lace tries to copy them. When she receives the weapon, the size 1 saber is shorter than Phantom's by several centimeters. Still, it feels awkward in Lace's hand, strangely rubbery and stiff at the same time. Lace presses down on the tip gently to let it wobble, wavering in her vision back and forth. "Here." Phantom holds a pair of small gloves and a mask in their hand. "I'll pin the plastron in place. There aren't any jackets that would be close to your size, so we'll do some basic footwork for now." "Okay." "So, there's a couple moves we can go over," Phantom says. "Spread your legs shoulder-width apart. Here. Crook them. One foot pointed straight and the other to your side. Bend your knees, balance yourself. One arm extended, the other behind. Like this." As they speak, they correct Lace's posture and stance thoughtfully, making minute adjustments when Lace wasn't getting it properly. "Hold that," Phantom says, backing off. "Perfect." They back away, hands poised out in front of them. Lace holds the position as well as she can, but she begins to cut increasingly vicious glares at Phantom the longer her sibling has her stand in the on-guard position. "Try and advance," Phantom suggests eventually. One foot in front of the other, heel to toe. It's like a shuffle, but go slow. Lace takes a step forward. I know you know what a shuffle is," Phantom grouches. "So do it." Lace shuffles forward. "Keep your knees bent and your sword arm elevated," Phantom suggests. "Try and go backwards where you can. Backwards and forwards to move in and out of an opponent's range." Lace tries her best to perform the movement. Her body feels a little stiff. She worries about being less than perfect, especially as the maneuvers from the more advanced fences catch her eye. Although she doesn't understand their pattern of movement, their speed and confidence belie their skill. Was Phantom that good? Was Lace's presence just an embarrassment to them? Although this was her first time ever fencing, was there an invisible standard that she had already failed to meet? Suddenly, Lace wishes that she'd just gone to ballet practice and taken the IOU in the form of an ice cream or something. But she thinks a little harder about it, thinks of miserable ballet and the balancing act of brutality and beauty, and the embarrassment and shame fade away. She performs her shuffle, sword arm held stiffly ahead. There says nothing on ballet. Nothing. Suddenly, Phantom speaks. You look awkward with it, the way you hold your saber. Maybe try a lunge? Lace flushes. I just started. You can't expect me to be great. And you told me to hold it up. No, it's not that. Phantom narrows their eyes. There's something... Because you're technically correct, it's just stiff. I can get better, Lace says, a note of placation entering her tone. Phantom gives her a sharp look before leaning back onto their hands. Try a lunge, they repeat. Thrust with your back foot and sort of lean over your front foot. Extend your sword arm. Lace tries her best. She feels like she does it fine, but Phantom is quick with their corrections. Try it again. Lace lunges again and again. Phantom appears to be deep in thought, fingers drumming against their mask. You lean over too much, they suggest. Try keeping your back straighter. Lace slides her eyes over to Phantom dubiously. If I lean forward too much, I'll fall over. Phantom watches her quietly, tucking their face into a slight tilt. Lace sighs dramatically before shifting her hands. She does the lunge again, slowly. That seems better, Phantom says. Does it feel better? It does, but Lace just frowns at Phantom and sings her saber back. Is there anything else for me to do? She complains. This is all easy. It's easy when you don't have an opponent, sure. Phantom leans forward before standing up. You can try a bout against me. They get into a starting position, patiently waiting for Lace to adjust into one as well. Although they move slowly, Lace has trouble keeping up with Phantom's quick movement. They allow their weaknesses to be apparent, even as they manage to touch Lace with their blade and tip of their saber. A few entire seconds later, Lace manages to get her bearings enough to hit Phantom's knees. That wouldn't count, Phantom says, eyes glinting with amusement through their mask. You're wielding a saber. You've got to hit above the waist. Lace whacks Phantom's hit in protest. Again, Phantom says. They go even slower. Lace is able to see the blade glinting down towards her now. Clumsily, she deflects before letting the tip fall on Phantom's waist. That's good, Phantom says. They straighten. They had clearly diverted their blade from Lace's shoulder at the last second, letting Lace get a touch. You've always been a fast learner. Lace doesn't think so, but the thought is so constant it flies away from her mind immediately, ephemeral as a cloud. Lace stabs again. This time, Phantom stops her. A little faster, they say. Stab with your toe, balance with your hips. If you're going to parry, you've got to stay strong against your opponent. You've got to push back. You can't be passive. Lace does it again and again. The blade becomes a little more like an extension of her arm. It cuts like a knife through the air, slicing so quickly it whistles with glee. Out of the corner of her eye, through the wire lines of her mask, Lace sees Phantom has started to cry. It's hard to see because their face and body language don't change, and their mask dazzles up the eye. But the light catch like diamonds on their face. Their makeup streaks down miserably, circling their eyes like bruises. Uncertainly, Lace quits the motion, saber limp in her hand. She tilts her head, enormously put off. Phantom, she says. She starts to put off her mask, unable to see Phantom clearly through the veil. She's stopped by Phantom themselves, who abruptly reaches out their arms, embracing Lace within them. Lace freezes, her body distorted. Her face is pressed hard into the fabric of the mask, but she can still feel Phantom's arms holding her tight around the back. "You have to be perfect," Phantom murmurs into their ear. Her ear. They're older and wiser. They know better. They're close to Lace, but also distant, like a wavering mirage in the desert, as weak as wet paper. So much hope and nothing substantial. They seek out Lace's eyes when they say this, entreating. "You have to be perfect. I want you to survive. Don't you understand?" There's a lot in the world that Lace doesn't understand at this point. For all that she's been educated by the best tutors, Lace has yet to leave her home. For all that she's able to bend herself into lines of ivy up the wall of her house, Lace has yet to gain a truer understanding of the world, of the way the world is. For all that the beginning of her life had been miserable, for all that she is sent in for surgeries, she has yet to lose hope. She still believes in the tolerability of her mother, and she has yet to fail in a fashion that could change her life in a meaningful way. She still believes in the sturdiness of her sibling, who will never fade. She nods stiffly against Phantom's back. She thinks she understands this. She doesn't. Eventually, Phantom lets her go. Their face is placid now, as still as Winter Lake, frozen until the spring. Lace frowns. With a thin, wiry blade, she stumbles through a routine once more. Her fingers are not as nimble as her siblings, who flies through the stances like a prisoner sent to the guillotine, eyes deadened and searching. Their smile flags sometimes, before they look at Lace once more, and grin with all their teeth. The tears are long gone. "You have to be perfect," Phantom says again, their tone gentled for Lace alone. They correct Lace's posture once again, hands on her back and arm, like this. In her dreams that night, Lace hears a scream of her own name so loud, so piercing and terrible, it sends her scrabbling upright in bed, sleep fleeing her mind like a rabbit in the bush. It's already over when she becomes fully conscious, and Lace wonders if she had merely hallucinated the sound in her sleep. Lace eyes the door. She wonders if she should investigate. There's nothing more. The night is peaceful again. She lays back down. When Lace wakes up the next morning, she groans from how sore she is. Fencing practice had been more arduous than she'd expected. For all that dance had rendered her frame as thin and muscular as it could possibly be, the muscles used for fencing were quite different. Her back and arms were quite stiff from the activity. She skips down the stairs 2 at a time. Today she's officially 11. Her birthday had been some liminal stage between ages. Now she is truly 11. No longer some borderline age on the cusp of childhood. 11 is an elevated age, the last stretches of imagination and hope still clinging to her skin, like wisps of smoke. She had begun it by sneaking out, and true to Phantom's word, they had not been caught. Lace has not been punished for this. She feels a little arrogant, like she had pulled off something over on her hypervigilant mother. Taking her place at the breakfast table, she is surprised to find that a servant is quick to place her appetizer in front of her. A small cup of fresh fruit, cut into stars and crescents and perfect cubes. Normally, they would wait for Phantom. Lace sends the servant a confused look as they retreat backwards, bowing their head. She glances up to the place Phantom usually is. They're not there. Neither is there a mat set out for them. Lace furrows her brows. "Is Phantom not awake?" she asks the servant, who says nothing in return. Deciding that Phantom must not have been awoken this morning, as often seems to happen, Lace begins to stand, intent on investigating. At this moment, her mother sweeps through the door, perfectly put together, as always. Her heels clip across the tile. A sleek tablet is tucked under her arm, encased in a pure white leather cover. Lace abruptly sits back down, back straight and shoulders set. Her mother sits at the table, at the head of the table, nose tilted disdainfully down at the fruit cup before her. "Please bring out the entree as soon as possible," she says, bitterness seeping into her voice. She clicks on her tablet, a digitized newspaper appearing on the screen. "I have no desire to entertain courses today. My night has been particularly ugly." The servant bows before gliding out. Lace's mother sniffs, before picking up a knife and an orange from the crystalline bowl. She doesn't acknowledge Lace, who nervously begins glancing towards Phantom's empty seat. There's punishment for missing breakfast. There's punishment for not adhering to the given schedule. But the further along things get, the more breakfast Mother eats, the worse off Lace's sibling will be. So, with a shaking voice, Lace says, "We ought to wait for Phantom. They're not here yet." Mother places a cantaloupe in her mouth. "Your sister will not be coming this morning," she says, tapping on her tablet. "I would not anticipate her presence from this day forward either." Lace furrows her brows. "I don't understand," she says. But she does, at least a little. Dread is not as familiar a friend as it would become in her future, but it isn't unknown, and it rises in her stomach like bile. Where's Phantom? Mother sighs, placing her fork down. She temples her fingers, locking Lace into her gaze. "You skipped ballet practice last night," she says. Lace blanches before clasping her hands in front of her. "I'm sorry," she says immediately. It was my birthday, and I don't like ballet that much, so as a treat, I thought—" "Are you ungrateful?" Mother asks, her voice slithering through the air like a snake in the grass. Lace closes her mouth with a clack. "No," she says softly. "There is no excuse." "I'm sorry." "Of course you are," Mother says simply. She taps her cup of fruit with a fork. "You have a weak soul. You would never have done such a thing on your own. Necessarily, you must have had outside influence." Lace slowly lowers her hands. Mother places a bite of fruit in her mouth before dabbing the corner of her mouth with a napkin. When she puts it down, her face is severe. "Last night, your sister took you out without my permission," she says sternly. "She kidnapped you." For a second, Lace is confused. "But they didn't," she protests immediately. "They took me to their fencing practice, but we came back. It was my birthday. I asked to go. I asked to skip ballet." "Did she ask my permission?" Mother's voice is like ice. "I am your mother. Strange women cannot simply come into my house and take my daughter without permission." "But they're your child too," Lace cries, desperately confused, desperately trying to understand. "They're my sibling. I asked them." "The girl ceased to be my daughter long ago," Mother replies callously. "I kept her around out of sheer goodwill. She knew her time was running out, and yet chose to abuse my kindness towards her to act brazen. She knew full well the punishment with messing around. In the case of kidnapping, she knew full well the punishment for that as well." "Punishment?" Lace breathes, hardly able to move her mouth. "She's 19, Mother says, ice cold. "She can be charged as an adult. Kidnapping." "But they didn't kidnap me," Lace protests, standing abruptly. A chair moves back with a screech. "I wanted to go. I wanted to fence." "Sit down," Mother snaps, which Lace instantly does. "She took you without my permission. You are a minor, thus under my control. She had no right and is being punished accordingly." "Punished?" "Lower your voice. That's unbecoming." Mother snaps the napkin out before folding it into her lap. "Your sister was living on my generosity for long enough. It was about time she should reap the consequences of defying me, since she clearly holds such a low opinion of my kindness. And you know how she was. She was mad, suicidal." "They didn't mean to," Lace cries. "It was for me. It was my birthday. I made them do it. I made them take me out." I grow tired of your whining," Mother cuts her off. "Daughter, Your sister would have ended up in this position in due time. To speed up the timeline is her own fault. There is no need to take the blame for things that are not your fault. This is a truth I hope you learn well. A punishment is not one that you would be willing to bear. What is it? I can do it. I can do it. Tell me what it is and I can do it. Mother gives her an utterly disapproving look. Lace shrinks back, does not give way. Finally, Mother looks away. She's been sent to a medical institution to help her mental state, she says, matter of fact. She nods to a servant, who brings out the main entree. Thinly sliced duck, cooked tomatoes, sprinkled with basil. Then she says, half to herself, her behavior was obscene, such flagrant disregard. I've never seen such insolence. She starts on her food, her fork clicking angrily against the porcelain plate. Her mouth is drawn thin, and her bracelets clatter down her wrist. Lace wrings her napkin on her lap, before prying each finger loose and rubbing each wrinkle away. I can go to that, she says. She shuts her eyes tight, screwing them together to keep her tears at bay. I can go to the medical institution. You will not, Mother replies. It is your sister's punishment. I won't entertain another word about it. I can go. You won't. I can. You won't. The shout echoes loudly throughout the room. It's intense. It could break plates. It breaks Lace's heart. She flinches back abruptly, nearly tipping the chair over. You won't, Mother repeats far more calmly. Your sister was just plain awful. I sent her away. You have yet to see about, so you will be kept around. If you are good, you can stay. Does that make sense? Do not nod. Use your words. Yes, madam, Lace murmurs. Her fingers are freezing, tingling with nerves. I have a question. Her mother sighs, long and heavy, shutting her eyes tight. Lace proceeds with her question before Mother can rebuke her once more. Is the institution a nice place? Lace asks in a small voice. In some ways, Mother replies stiffly, not looking up from her food. Yes. Lace looks down at her lap. What place were they sent to? She asks then. Will I be able to visit them? I'm afraid not, Mother says, only answering the second question. The institution's policy is quite strict, you see. Only students are admitted inside. Then can Phantom come outside? Lace says bravely, clinging to her fork. They want to come outside. I want to see them, and I know they want to see me too. They want to see me too. Mother lets her own utensils clatter on the plate with a resounding chime. She was a girl, Mother snaps. And I refuse to hear that silly nickname from your lips one more time. I knew I should have separated the two of you. All that girl's silly ideas have translated their nonsense into your head. You will not be seeing her again. I have every intention of disinheriting her. And if you don't wish to see yourself in the same position, you will shut up and not speak of this again. Lace quickly looks back down at her lap, her long white skirt blooming out from under her like a rose, glimmering strangely in the light, lines of light and dark cutting neat shapes from the fabric. Mother sits back, lifting her fingers to massage her nose. Goodness, she says, iron voice, much softer. The girl before her was just as bad. These ideas have been festering far too long between my children. I should have quelled them long ago. Well, I've learned my lesson. If you're a failure like the rest, I'll keep you in the guest house so you don't contaminate the next child. We'll find this out soon enough, I suppose. Lace can hardly dare to breathe. She stares down at her food, head pounding in fear. Phantom is not coming back. Lace has come to this conclusion naturally. They've gone to this institution. They've been institutionalized. At least this is what Mother has professed to. Even at 11, Lace understands that this isn't something that happens willingly. Even to get better, she cannot imagine what it would take for Phantom to be cured. And before Phantom, there had been a brother who had never come back. And before their brother, there had been a sister who had never come back. And before her, there had been another sister. Lace's eyes are so wide, thin tears don't even prick her face. before they begin to fall. If Phantom has escaped, they won't be coming back. Even if this was in punishment, Phantom would take this opportunity with both hands. All they'd ever wanted to do was leave. They wouldn't come back for Lace. There's only Mother now. There's Mother and Lace and the empty place, setting where Phantom used to be. It's just the way it has to be, Mother finishes, lifting her napkin off her lap and dabbing her mouth. Lace, please head to your room now. I'm through talking to you. Lace does not want to be through with this conversation. She wishes to cry, rattle against her mother like a belligerent drum. She wants to hunt down Phantom. She wants to go back to yesterday and not even have a birthday at all. Why did you leave me? She almost wants to beg. Childish. Petty. Where have you gone? But Mother cuts her eyes up at Lace. They are flat, emotionless. There is no pleasure nor joy in looking at her daughter. Only deep consideration, like Lace is a pawn on a playing field. And since Lace can so clearly remember how Phantom had looked at her only yesterday, and even if Phantom had only loved her a little bit, she knows then profoundly that her mother does not love her at all. What is there to say to someone who does not care for you? Lace is no more than a chair in this room. She's even dressed like one, all white, all draped in ivory, as replaceable as the pale rug under her feet. Her mother looks past her, and Lace stands still. It takes everything in her for Lace not to grip the hem of her shirt in full view of her mother. Instead, she slowly picks up her feet. Her stomach roils. She wonders if Phantom's room is still intact. Wait, her mother says. Lace pauses halfway to the door. Pack an overnight bag. We'll be heading to the hospital tomorrow, at midday or so. There's a distinct rustle of her mother's clothes before the sound of shuffling paper. Lace fixes her eyes on the door. She does not turn around. Hospital, Lace says weakly, fear staying her voice. She hates the hospital. Again? I don't feel bad, though. Mother pushes her food aside, the porcelain scraping across the table. A servant comes forward, their shoes just slightly squeaking on the tile, before placing a laptop down in front of the woman, which Mother types upon with crisply done nails. You've been needing to get heart surgery, Mother says, almost as calm as if talking about a summer forecast. We'll see how it goes. Lace feels her hand twitch. Terrifyingly, she can't feel a single thing in her stomach, for everything has fallen away entirely. Heart surgery, she says. You didn't... What? Disease can be malignant, her mother says. This is merely preventative. The doctor says that your heart has a high potential for stenosis. It's better to clear things up now than to let it fester. Heart surgery, Lace says again, weakly. Don't be stupid, daughter. You know what I said. Go now. Make sure you are caught up on your homework. We'll only have a short break before I expect you to attend your studies once more. Click, clack goes her keyboard. Lace cannot resist anymore and half turns. Mother, she starts, voice trembling maddeningly, before she stops. Her mother doesn't even look at her. She's got a paper in one hand while she types with another. The neutral bottoms of her French manicure stand out glaringly, but the paper bleeds in to the white tips, blending the shapes sharply. She does not seem worried about Lace's heart surgery, dated tomorrow. She doesn't even seem to care about Phantom at the so-called facility. She places down a paper, staples it, and taps something on her tablet. Lace doesn't say anything else. She walks out. The inside of her stomach is swirling, sweating rampantly, a horrible feeling. The moment Mother is out of sight, she bolts, heart pounding, as she maneuvers through the manor in a state of abstract terror. She takes the stairs 2, 3, 4 at a time, hears the thud of her dull heel on the marble, slips and nearly bashes her chin against the tile when she makes a turn too suddenly. White door, white door, white door.